So what we're doing today is we're working on more parabolas. It's different than the textbook because the textbook goes into things that I don't think are important that we really need. I want you to be able to graph things, and I want you to have a basic understanding of them. We're not going to get technical until later in the year, so there's no need to right now. So we've been dealing a ton with vertical parabolas. A vertical parabola is going to just be a positive goes up and a negative goes down. Okay? The positive will give me a min, the negative will give me a max. Okay? We've done this part a lot, the different transformation. Okay? So this tells me that my vertex is at h comma k. Okay? We also know the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is just x equals h from your vertex. But if you don't have your vertex, then it's x equals negative b over 2a. When we graph parabolas, it's always all reals for the domain. But then our range is different. Our range is either a greater than, if it goes up like this, and it's a less than if it goes down like this. Okay? So that's a basic review. So I'll give you a second. I'm going to put on the door a pause to make sure that you have it all caught up. And then we'll talk about what's different with horizontal. Okay. With horizontal parabolas, what I'm doing now is I'm going left and right. So instead of being a y equals, it's an x equals y squared. Okay? You cannot graph these in the calculator. Calculators can't graph the x equals, so you have to know how to do these by hand. Okay. So when I have a positive, it goes to the right. And we will not have max or min values for horizontal parabolas. If I have a negative, it's going to go to the left. Now, just like when we did vertical, we also have to do vertex on horizontal. Now, here's the thing. Over here, the x was inside with the h. But over here, the x isn't on the inside, it's on the outside. So it goes with the h on the outside, okay? So it's going to be at h, comma, k. Same thing as here, but if you notice, the x's are now on the outside, while the k's are on the inside. Okay. The axis of symmetry, it's not an x equals because the graph is an x equals. It's a y equals, and it's whatever y equals. And on this one, y is equal to k. Okay. When we have the domain for horizontal is how far does it go to the left and right? Well, these only go to the left or the right. So if I go to the right, it's an x is greater than. But if I go to the left, it's an x is less than. So you have to look and see where these are to see if it goes to the right or to the left, which will tell you if it's greater than or less than. The range for these, though, these go up. They don't look like they go up, but those arrows are going to keep going and going forever. So the range for these are all reals. Okay. So I'll put the little Dora pause on to make sure you're caught up. Okay, so on our problems that we're actually going to do, we have to do several things. We have to find the vertex, the axis, and the direction. Well, x is with x, so x goes here, 2. Y is with y, so it's 2, 5. This is a y equal equation, so it's either up or down, but since this is positive, it goes up. And then your axis, it's not a y equals because we already have that. It's going to be x equals, and x equals 2. Okay, so let's graph this. Go over 2, up 5. I'm going to kind of make it skinnier because it's a shrink of 3, and there's my graph. So for this one, your domain is all reals, but your range, it goes up and it goes above 5. Okay? Looking at the next one, now it's an x equals. Well, x goes on the outside, there's nothing there. So my vertex is 0, -1. Remember that rule I keep saying? It's opposite of parentheses? Well, that's what it is. It's opposite of the parentheses. It always works. Now, an x equals parabola goes left or right. Since this one's positive, it's going to go to the right. The axis of symmetry is where it folds on. It can't be x equals because there's already an x equals here. So it's y equals and y equals -1. So I'm going to graph 0, -1, and I'm going to kind of go up 1 and over 1 and make my u. Okay, so my domain, it doesn't go all the way to the left and right. It only goes to the right. So x is greater than, and it's greater than -1. The range, on the other hand, goes both ways, so it's all reals. So what I'd like you to do is make sure that you're caught up on those, and then I want you to actually try 3 and 4 on your own. Okay, so go ahead and check your answers. There's nothing, the x is with 1, so it's a -1. There's nothing with y, so that's why it's 0. I graph it, and there's my downward parabola. The next one, x is on the outside, so it goes with my 5 on the outside. So my vertex is at 5, 3, and this one is a parabola to the right. So when you do these, you have to remember x's go with x's and y's goes with y's. So if x is in the parentheses, it goes with the number in parentheses. If y is in the parentheses, then that goes with the number in the parentheses.